Hello, hi everyone. Hi, welcome. Good evening and welcome to this evening's play briefing for Gaslight. Before we begin, I'd just like to honour the traditional owners of the land on which we gather, the Turrbal and Yagara people. On behalf of all of the creators on this stage this evening, we acknowledge that this space and this place has always been a site of storytelling. Well, welcome everyone to season 2024 and to the first subscriber briefing of the year. Hello, welcome back. For those of you who are long-standing VIPs, welcome back. Thank you for joining us again for another adventure. For those of you who are new subscribers and new to play briefings, hello. This is not the play, this is the bit before the play, and it's where you get a special insight into a look behind the rehearsals, into the rehearsal room, into the design room, and into the brains and hearts and minds of all these wonderful people who sit beside me. My name is Daniel Evans. Hello, if I've met you before. Well, thank you. I'm fan club of one. I'm an associate artist here at Queensland Theatre, and it's my pleasure to be with you all here tonight. Lee is directing the first production of the season. Yes, welcome. And it's a season that's going to take you across sweat-soaked football fields, into the halls of the Oval Office, round the twist of a very famous lighthouse, and to here, London, 1901, where the young and trusting Bella Manningham thinks she's losing her mind. In the evenings, she hears strange noises. Nobody, not even her urbane husband Jack, can tell Bella where her jewellery is disappearing to, or why the sitting room gas lamps dim for no apparent reason. Patrick Hamilton's 1938 play introduced us to the powerful term that we now use to describe a form of deception and manipulation. It was adapted into a film in 1940 and then again in 1944, and it's taken on fresh currency in recent years to become Merriam-Webster's Word of the Year in 2022. But this liberating adaptation by Joanna Wright and Patty Jamieson turns this story into a gripping, reimagined thriller of daring and doubt. Will the gaslighting have its intended dire effect, or will our heroine find the strength to save herself? Cue intrigue. I'm going to get this wonderful group of people to introduce themselves and who they are playing or what they are contributing in terms of the design of the production. And we might go from the other end to that person down there. Who are you?
Your biggest fan, Dan Evans. Hi everybody, it's lovely to be back for 2024. For those of you I haven't met, I hope to soon, I'm Lee Lewis, the Artistic Director at Queensland Theatre and the very happy Director of Gaslight.
Hello, I'm Toby Schmitz and I'm playing Jack Manningham in this production, as you are.
Hello, my name is Barbara Lowing and I am covering, so to speak, this extraordinary woman sitting next to me, Kate Fitzpatrick, as Elizabeth.
My name is Kate Fitzpatrick and I'm very lucky.
Hello, my name is Courtney Cavallaro and I'm playing Nancy.
Hello, my name is Madison Burridge and I am Standby Bella and Standby Nancy.
Hi, I'm Julian Curtis and I'm covering for Jack, for Toby.
Hi, my name's Renee Mulder, I'm the set and costume designer.
Hi, I'm Paul Charlier, I'm a composer and sound designer.
Hello, I'm Paul Jackson, I'm a lighting designer.
Hi, I'm Beck Poulter, stage manager.
Welcome. Lee, as ever, my first question is to you. I would love to know what you thought, why this play, when you first read it, what came to you, how has this one come to the stage? What was your first interaction with it? You know, plays speak to us, plays have a personality of their own, but what was the personality of Gaslight when it started speaking to you?
This one was an odd one. This play came to me by a producer, Rodney Rigby. He contacted me and said, have you read this new adaptation? And I was like, no. He sent it to me and I loved the film. I grew up and used to watch Bill Collins on a Friday night until like 4 in the morning. And this is one of the films that I loved. But I'd read the play many years ago and thought, oh, that's interesting, but a bit creaky. So this new adaptation landed in my inbox and I read it and I called Rodney back and I was like, I love this. And over the course of a period of time, we figured out that this was the perfect play to start the 2024 season. So it was deep love of the old thriller movies that Bill Collins used to frighten me with on Friday nights when Mum and Dad were out playing squash. It was the 80s. And I loved the form. And then magically, I talked to Geraldine Hakewell, and she said about this play, and she said, oh my God, I've always loved this genre. And so it was a bit of a love affair at the beginning with people who love this kind of storytelling, and the challenge of building tension on a stage when there's a big clue in the title. So how do we do that? And then ultimately, I just wanted a play that was all about Paul Jackson, really. So the lighting is in the title, and I was like, take it away, Paul. So I've been looking for a play to feature his work in, and it all came together magically.
Amazing. Now, Geraldine Hakewell couldn't be with us tonight. She is, of course, playing leading Lady Bella. She is ill, but she sends her love and cannot wait to be on this stage. Toby, you and Geraldine do a lot of work together. I'm wondering, can you speak to us about how does their relationship start at the beginning of the play? Because I watched the company run today, and it feels quite peachy for a good 10 minutes or so.
I think it is a strange and rather odd story if it was just two happy people on stage with each other for the entire time. I'm not sure if those people actually exist. But yeah, we first discover Jack and Bella Manningham over a nice afternoon tea and we can see it starting to emerge here in a London townhouse, and which they've sort of moved into about 6 months ago. And yeah, everything is kind of peachy when we first find them, and then wheels start to fall off and we start to see some cracks appear in what at the beginning we believe is poor Bella's mental health. And her poor suffering husband has to deal with it. Yeah, that's it. Let's give as much of that sympathy for Jack Manningham going as well.
Lee, I'm going to come back to you for a quick question. One of the playwrights, actually, I think it was Joanna Wright, she said, we didn't want to change the rules of Victorian society and how they affected women. Our question was, is there a way for her to play by these rules and win? Do you want to talk a bit about how perhaps this version of Gaslight might differ from the version of the audiences that it might have encountered before?
I'm not going to talk a lot about that, no, because there's a whole story about that, but they've distilled the play, is what it feels like to me. When I read the adaptation, what I loved is that they kept the spirit of the problem, the spirit of the relationship, and the complexity of that kind of relationship. And then, through the challenge, how do we believe that she can survive? And it's about that, allowing the modern complexity of understanding of the difficulty of the situation to feed into the story. So the biggest shift for me is actually in the second half of the play. The first half of the play is very recognisable. The second half of the play starts to move into a more complex detailing of how a couple can move forward in this story. I'm not giving away the end. As much as you will try, Daniel Evans, I'm going to resist the spoiler. Because I think what they've done in their adaptation is do something that employs all of our contemporary cynicism and understanding and complexity of modern psychology, and yet put it in that time in such a way that reminds us that people have always wrestled with power inside relationships, and sometimes it ends well and sometimes it doesn't. So it feels to me incredibly recognisable, and yet in its right context. So it's a very sophisticated adaptation that allows us to see recognisable human emotion through the wrong end of the telescope. So we know it's in the past, and maybe that's why I like the play. Because I think if it were a contemporary dress story about this, I wouldn't want to go there. But I really love watching this, and I really love making it, because it needs all of our intelligence to make it, and to watch it to really understand what's going on. So it's a bit of alchemy that they've done. Time travel with all of our knowledge. So we're not being asked to give up our brains in order to enjoy the genre, which sometimes happens with revivals of plays.
Great. Good answer. That was great. I'm going to come to Kate and Barb now, who I met backstage just scarcely a minute ago, but I already feel like you have like a Thelma and Louise relationship, you two. It's kind of great. Both of you together, like, I mean, you've both worked across so many forms. Your careers have spent years in stages and many, many stories. I'm wondering, where does the character of Elizabeth sit in this work? And also, where does she sit in perhaps society or your experience of playing many, many theatrical roles? Who is she?
Well, I've never played a servant before.
And how's that working out?
Terrible, dreadful duster. No good at dusting, kind of. But I'm getting better at like head bobbing and, you know what I mean, behaving myself, saying "mum" and "sir" a lot. Does that help?
I love that. You wouldn't be downstairs in Downton Abbey. You'd be upstairs. Yeah.
I'm downstairs. I'm so downstairs.
She's going to teach me how to dust.
we have a time where I'm going to show Kate how to feather dust a house. Wipe a table.
One table at a time. But by the time you see it, it's going to be fabulous.
Absolutely. It's going to be amazing. Does that help?
It does actually. Not quite the answer I was expecting, but sure, learning for the dust. I love that.
Well, Elizabeth is the housekeeper, and you know they're the eyes and ears of the house. But the thing about Elizabeth is that in our production is that she's inscrutable. She does her job. She sees what's going around her, and you never know. That's about it.
She's lived in the house for 50 years.
Yeah.
And the newcomers have only been there, well, Jack and Bella have only been there 6 months. So it's a very different, she has quite a relationship with the house and what went on in the house.
Mm.
So she kind of represents the history of it, I guess.
I hope that you're getting a sense of the thriller aspect as everyone talks about their character and is like, I'm not going to give that away, I'm just going to retreat from that key piece of backstory information. And to that end, I might come to Courtney. You have a very different role. You're a bit of a disruption in the work. Can you talk a bit about your character and how and when and the dynamic that she enters into?
I don't want to give away too much, she's a bit of a disruptor. Well, no, you actually did take my word. That's how I've been describing her to my friends, is she really disrupts the space, vocally, physically. She is generationally a different woman, and it's been really exciting to play with like 3 generations of women in the space. At the risk of being annoying, I don't want to say too much. But yeah, she's also a maid, but she's come into the house, so she doesn't have the same relationship with space that Elizabeth does.
She's the worst duster.
Well, yeah, I mean, she doesn't dust too much in the show. She's not particularly great at being a maid, and that's part of the fun of playing her. She's quite, snarky about it at times.
It's really tempting. We're all tempted to tell you more about the plot and our characters. Like we're itching. One of Hamilton's other famous plays was Rope, which is famously turned into a Hitchcock film. And you wouldn't want to know anything about the end of Hitchcock films or the plot twists or what people do to each other. In fact, I think Hitchcock was quite famous for, shutting the doors on cinemas, to not let people in after a certain time, or begging audiences not to give away twists. So we're all really tempted because it is quite a roller coaster ride of what people say versus what they're actually doing, and that's for all our characters. So we're itching to tell you, but I promise you don't want us to.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, let's move maybe behind stage now, because I know that one of the imperatives of this production is that everyone will get a chance to see it. So we have some local heroes in the wings who are our swing and understudies for all the main characters, and the two we haven't met yet explicitly is Maddie and Julie in the middle there. If you can give us a wave, you two. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Now quite fortuitously, terrifyingly, Maddie, I know that today for the company run you were called and you stepped into Jerry's role to play Bella. How much notice did you have, and what was your first reaction when someone called you and said, "Oh, for the company run tomorrow, can you go on?"
I think the events of today pretty much sum up what it's like to be a standby. For the last 4 weeks, the three of us standbys have been, a lot of our responsibility has been watching, observing, taking detailed notes, line running between the three of us. So it has been a lot of sit down, watch the principal performers obviously rehearse the show. And I arrived this morning, parked my car, checked my phone 15 minutes before we start, and there's a message from Lee saying, "Jerry's sick, you're up." And that's pretty much what it's like.
I said, if you're okay with it.
Oh, no.
In a very caring tone, and there was an emoji.
She did. There was a kiss, there's an X at the end. And an audience, yes, it was the first run of the show with the company staff. And I was up doing it. But the thing about being a standby, I think, is there's a lot of responsibility that you don't have, per se. Say that you don't have to make a lot of the creative decisions. Obviously, you're in the room when things are decided and rehearsals are going on. But you're not also up there performing every day, the emotional, the physical, the vocal labour of all of that. So there's a lot of responsibility that you don't have. But then when you do have responsibility, you've got 15 minutes to pull it together.
And she was amazing.
You were incredible. It was such a feat. I was there going, oh no. I felt really nervous. And then by the end I was actually completely hooked. I was like, what's happening? And then oh no, I can't say that. Spoiler. Gosh, I'm learning. But there's an amazing climactic moment and I was like, oh, maybe they won't do that moment. And then you did and I was like, whoa, impressive.
Thank you.
Well done. Julian, has your experience been similar or akin to that?
Well, yeah, I've been watching Toby Schmidt since I was at university, and I've always admired him. So it's a real pleasure to watch him work, and and Geraldine, all of them are fantastic. And Geraldine really reminds me of Gwyneth Paltrow and those '90s thrillers like A Perfect Murder and A Talented Mr. Ripley, and that's kind of my favourite genre. So I'm digging it. I'm loving it. You're gonna have a great time.
Awesome.
And of course, this is quite, you would know, Dan, an unusual thing for us. We haven't had standby covers in our productions at Queensland Theatre, which through COVID meant if someone went down, the show went down, and we called you and rescheduled your tickets, and you very graciously moved. So for us, in partnering with a commercial producer to take this around the country, we have to have the covers so that the show can go on. But I have to say it was a very unusual experience for me as a director at the moment. This morning, lead actress calls and says, "I'm feeling really well, unwell." I said, "Go to bed and we'll go on." And so I guess the show really will go on, which is kind of extraordinary. And it went on so beautifully, thank you. Yeah.
As well, Lee's right, it's a rare luxury in the theatre that I've done over my life to have a standby, but the luxury is about having another colleague, another wise brain in the room to ask for opinions on, to sort of bounce off, to have another person who's investing in the role I'm playing as much as I am, and we're going to be on tour together till September, so more brains, more theatre rats in the room, the better, so it is a luxury and it's a great thing.
I've got to say the camaraderie in the room watching that today was actually really, really lovely. What else is really lovely to watch right now, great segue, is this beautiful set, this beautiful design. Renee, congratulations. It's so wonderful to have you back in the company again, designing yet another world for us. I'm wondering, where did the architecture of this space begin? Did you start, what was the small seed that you started with?
Essentially, it was houses of the even Georgian, Victorian, early Edwardian period, but also it was just a lot of reference material that Lee and I were looking at of photographs and paintings of interiors and architectural renderings and architectural detailed imagery of even advertisements of the period, advertising pieces of furniture and that kind of thing. And it was sort of our favourite elements of certain rooms kind of put together, and that is kind of what you see here in this space, except, with a heaviness or darkness to it, in which the lighting, obviously the title of the play, Gaslight, plays a great feature. So it's over to Paul to help make that happen.
Oh, that was a great segue.
Hello, yeah, I'm the guy in charge of the Gaslight. Look, tales of psychological thrillers are a joy for a lighting designer, really, because not only are you central to the narrative, but spaces are unstable, they shift emotionally quite a lot, and so there's actually a very front and centre role for light, and light has an idea of what people know and don't know, shadow, light, darkness, revelation. It's going to be a lot of fun to play in this space. Thank you.
Amazing, thank you. Well, I've got a question for you now. Is that all right? I heard a lot of. I heard a lot of sound today in the company run it, and it's quite stunning. And Toby mentions Hitchcock, and it feels like you're playing in a world of like strings or quite orchestral arrangements. I'm wondering, how did you come? Sound plays an incredibly important role in this production, given that Bella's hearing noises upstairs. There's the hiss of the gaslight, and there's this beautiful, sumptuous soundtrack. How do you strike the balance between all of those things? And I guess same question for Lee or maybe Renee. Where did you start?
It sounds like we all started in different rooms across the country watching Bill Collins, and then we've all come together here now. It's genre and it's thriller, so that's one of the starts. I think the most special thing is the chance to write a theme for a theatre show, because you just don't get asked to do that. Usually writing motifs and variations and covering scene changes. This was a chance to actually write a theme in the classical, I want to say Hollywood, but a film sense that then has variations and treatments throughout the whole piece, because you're trying to tell another story before the audience is sort of caught on to necessarily what's going on. And that was a great thing. And so the main theme was we couldn't really go 40s because we couldn't afford the orchestra. So it's sort of a little bit of 40s Hitchcock, a little bit of 60s John Barry, and a little bit of more recent Hans Richter, sort of trying to get something that also sounds a bit contemporary, that's not just sort of periodness, and that could develop with the play and the missing characters. I know it's
Almost.
And so that was that great challenge at the beginning, was to get something that goes, buckle up, we're in for a ride, and that is honourable to the beginning of this love story and Bella's journey through it, and women at the time, and I can't say anymore because I'm waiting.
Before I come out to questions from the audience, I'm coming to you very shortly. I have a question for stage management. I know. Do you want to talk? Okay, great, cool. Sometimes you're not sure, it's totally fine. How are you going with it? Where are you at in terms of your role now? How do you fit into where this play is kind of halfway between the rehearsal room and to the stage? What will be your focus over the next week?
Well, we're coming into tech rehearsal where all the elements come together, which is, I guess, my biggest time in the venue. So we haven't had a chance to play with lighting before, so we'll pot that. And then tech will be when that comes together with the sound system, costumes, cast playing on the stage for the first time. So we have limited time to get that all right and get that to time to then get it ready for a dress run and for a show. So we've been pretty lucky having a lot of sound in rehearsal, so that's helped that process. It's always going to be a challenge getting it all together, but we've been trying to bring in as many elements to the rehearsal room as possible, which is usually we don't have so many sound cues already plotted in at this point in time.
And there's also been a lot of work with crockery, because there being both morning and afternoon teas in 1901, there's been a lot of conversation about, is this the right table setting? And I have to say, my mum would not be proud of me, and yes, I have called her 3 times. And fortunately, I have to say, the 2 people that eat the most muffins in the play don't have a gluten intolerance. So I would have thought, if I'd known, I would have checked before I hired them, but I got lucky.
Sorry. Renee, something we haven't talked about is the costumes in this show. And the wardrobe is stunning. I did a quick buzz through there the other day, and it looks a bit like the Met Gala. It's quite amazing, the frocks that you're developing. Do you want to speak to that? But is that fun? Is it, do you enjoy it?
I enjoy period. It's you can build it from a drawing up. You have complete control over that kind of world, which is kind of amazing. Very, very special opportunity to do period shows. But yeah, because the space, as you see here, is a static space, and the time passes. So the time passes through what the characters are wearing, or what the two lady and gentleman of the house are wearing in particular. For the staff, it doesn't necessarily change as much, but especially for Bella's character, she has a full kind of journey through clothing in a way. I don't think I've counted how many looks she has yet, but there's quite a few quick changes.
What's your favourite fabric that you've selected? Do you have a favourite?
A Duchess satin.
What colour?
Teal.
Good to know. Asking all the important questions.
But it is, Dan, it is that funny thing. I suppose what you've got on stage is a whole lot of craft geeks, because we don't often get to deploy our craft in the making of a period work. I mean, the set workshop has been so thrilled at getting to build a room of this scale. I mean, I'm going to point out the corner scene. That's pretty specky. Yeah.
Let's hear it for the cornices.
Yeah.
Let's give it up for the cornices.
It took them 3 weeks to build those, and the carpenters have been so thrilled at the opportunity to do that, because that's a moment in theatre history where the people who know how get to pass it on to the next generation. And the same thing is happening in the costume workshop, with the cutting and shaping of these extraordinary shapes, the corseting, the making of all of that. It's a celebration of all of the craft that is hived inside the companies, but then also inside the actors, because it's very particular actors that have the voice and the body that wants to do this kind of work as well. So it's just a whole lot of geeks who are really happy to get to do the thing that we love.
And you're using do you get to use the house curtain in this? Like, it's very rare that we use the curtain.
Am I curtaining or smothering? I don't know. Smothering. So the smother, not the curtain.
Wow.
Sorry, guys.
Well, I'll be led astray. Okay, who made that decision? Obviously, you didn't inform me.
Sorry, Dan, but I think given you and your history with revolves, I think it's just amazing that we've got a static set.
That's true, that's true. Stand by. Okay, everyone out there in the audience, do you have any burning questions, anything you want to know from anyone on this set? Yes, I saw a hand in the middle there, yes.
Just with this set, obviously you're going on the road, so are you taking it with you?
With this set, you're going on the road. Are you taking it with you?
We are absolutely taking this set and the craft of Queensland Theatre around the whole country, yes. And believe it or not, it's all going to fit in one truck. Okay, I'm just going to say Moulin Rouge had 27 trucks. One truck. Yep.
Well done, what a feat. They're Houdinis in workshop. Anyone else? Yes, over here.
So the cast has obviously read the play because you have to from end to end, so you already know the ending. So how have you used that to really sharpen it up so it's going to be just such an amazing experience?
Oh.
Well, I think you're spot on. When you do know the ending, you can misdirect. Do you know what I mean? You can pull the rug more. All plays, all theatre, the good stuff is always a kind of magic trick. And it's a very strange play that doesn't have some kind of illusion or magic trick in it. And this one has plenty. The rug keeps getting pulled on you. So yeah, knowing how it ends is fantastic, because you can pretend that you're walking into the war when really you know that the war's coming. You know. Yes, that's right. That's the best feeling. In our company run today, there was some gasps, and that was our first time with a fistful of people. What do we have? 15, 20 people watching the show. Well, we had the very first sense about what people might be gasping at or were wrong-footed by, and it was thrilling. It was really electric to go, yeah, we got him. Yeah.
It was me. I gasped. Is there another question I thought in here somewhere? Is there another question? Put your hand up. Be proud with your questions. Yes, yes.
I've got a really old person question.
That's okay. Old people questions are fine.
I thought that somebody who covered for a was called an understudy. Is that not?
Oh, so the question is, someone who covers for someone else is usually called an understudy. How are you referring to yourselves?
I don't know if they're.
That's okay. It's a good question. Don't apologise.
I don't know, I think.
Well, actually,
Toby,
I'm
shut
not
up.
sure, but the person who does know is producer Rodney Rigby, who's sitting up the back, who is the person responsible for the fact that we have covers for the whole tour.
I can answer that. I think the term understudy is a very maligned and undervalued term in this industry, and yet it's one of the most important and valuable functions within the theatre. We depend on understudies tremendously to keep our shows running, and without them they would collapse through illnesses and absenteeisms. And when we did the production of Come From Away, globally, we coined the term standby because we believed our understudies were so important and we valued them. We wanted to treat them with a sense of respect and greater appreciation. And that's a term that our company will continue on with projects like Gaslight, where we think our standbys are an integral part of our production. So that's why we call them standbys.
Any other questions out there? Put your hand up. Yes, in the middle.
Do you normally have set design and costume designer two different responsibilities? I just think I hope Renee's got a lot of help because they sound like two quite different designs.
So the question was, does set and costume, are they usually separated out or are they done by the one person? Renee, do you want to speak to that? Or?
It depends on the show. Sometimes I'm employed to do both on a project, sometimes just one side of it. I kind of love doing both because I get to control the whole
And sometimes it's the scale of the show. If the set is very complicated and requires a lot of build attention, sometimes you need that other person in costume. But when you're building a world, if you have split the role, then it's really important that those two designers work hand in hand to make sure that it's the right moment of arrival of a costume into a particular world. And that's hard to pull off. The other thing is, Renee Mulder is the best designer in the country, and when she can do both, I bet she's the only person I want to work with. Yeah.
And Renee, if you had to ballpark, I know it's too hard to do an exact step, but if you had to ballpark the bodies we can't see here tonight, the people who are behind you, helping you realise the vision, how many people do you think, maybe across workshop and wardrobe?
I'd say anywhere from 20, 25.
So 25. So she does have help. She's not going back there and sewing tonight or hammering a nail. Yes, hello, question.
I'm interested in the gender politics of this notion of Gaslight. The play was originally 1901, which has its own gender concepts and constructs behind it. Joanna Wright, her writing is very much about the female concept and feminism. How have they collided in this production? Have they, or have we ignored that part of it?
I think it's a very sophisticated adaptation in that she is honouring the time that these women were living and working in. So it's not a fantasia of how it could have been. But she has, for those of you familiar with the story, she has taken out the detective. So there isn't a detective who's going to come and explain it all to Bella. The challenge to her is how does she survive without being rescued? So that's Jonah going, no, I want my lead woman to find her feet. And the question is how, in such a way that we believe it, given the time and the constraints. So the political constraints of women in 1901 are very much working here. So that's what I mean. We're not expected to go into some fantasia of wouldn't it have been great if she could have in that time. It's very much according to the social rules of the time, but with a knowledge that there have always been smart women trapped in a society that wouldn't let them be as smart as they are. That's about as much as I'm going to say. But I don't think you're going to be disappointed. But it's a really tough distillation in that you take out all of those other things that were in there, the rescue mechanisms, and we've got a complicated play between four people and a power structure that only gives power to one. How they work their way through that is fascinating, and if it hadn't been, I wouldn't have done the play. Because why waste the brains of all these incredible people on something that's a bit simplistic?
Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to come to you in a second. It's going to go up the back. Yes.
Hi.
Hello.
I just have a question about giving direction to your actors and actresses. And like, if you could, what one tip would you share on how to, I guess, develop? Okay, from my point of view, I'm directing my first play, and I just would really like to know how to, I guess, develop the ability to give direction.
Well, first of all, congratulations on directing your first play. I'm going to throw this one. The question is about direction and how to best direct actors. I'm going to open this up to Lee, but also the actors. Maybe a provocation. What's the best direction you've received? Maybe what's something that a director said to you that's.
I would say my best tip is always get actors who are smarter than you. Yeah.
Yeah. I was reading the other day, Mike Nichols was directing something, like a stop art play, and they're in the middle of tech, and Tom Stoppard and Mike Nichols were sitting where you are, and some stagehand came out and said, oh, Mr. Nichols, and they had two chairs, and he said, do you want this chair or this chair in act, whatever? And Nichols quickly said, oh, that chair. And he went off, and then Stoppard said, I just have to say, Mike, like, how did you know so quickly? Those chairs kind of look the same to me. And Nichols said, you just answer really quickly. I think you know what you're talking about. You can always change it later.
I think the best thing that ever happened to me was about 10 years after I left drama school, and I thought that I had to know everything in those 10 years. I thought I had to come to the rehearsal room knowing everything, so that when I was questioned by the director, I had to have the right answer. And I was doing a show with Richard Werrett and Jackie Weaver, and I won't use the words that Jack used, I'll edit, but Jackie was doing a scene in rehearsals, and Richard stopped her and said, Jackie, what are you doing? And she said, I don't know, you're the director, you tell me. And Richard said, well, I don't know either, so let's talk about it. And it's being collaborative, it's being an ensemble, it's talking, there's no one that, everyone has ideas, but ultimately, you make the choice, but it's a collaborative thing, and that when that happened, my whole world changed, because I could actually say to a director, I don't know what I'm doing, and then you talk about it, and you find it out together, and that changed my world. There.
And I think it's got a lot to do with trust. It's when I've been happiest and possibly doing a good job, is because I believed that my director believed in me, like trusted me, and whatever he told me to do, I would do. Or her. Sorry, isn't that awful? Yeah. I mean, and I do trust her. So, this one. And it's kind of it's you just know that they want you to embody whatever you're doing. They want you to contribute. They want you to do your best. So you do whatever really they want you to do because you believe them. I think, I don't know, I'm not saying that very well. But I think trust, in my life I can, including Lee now, name six directors that I really trusted and that I really believed in, that I knew felt that way about me. So, and it makes a big difference. It's not just confidence, it's something else, because you are part of a group, of an ensemble, you know, you do it together. And you are playing someone else, and it is, funny enough, easier to play someone else than be yourself. Like, I'm not very good at being me, but I can be better at being other people. I don't know if that helps.
Keep going.
Anything else? Yeah, anyone pressing?
I honestly feel like everything's going to be echoing a similar sentiment. I feel like there's been numerous points in this process where I've gone to Lee, I'm really worried that it's seeming like it's going to be this, or I'm worried that I'm coming across like this, and she'll go, oh, I won't let that happen. Oh, okay, that's right, yeah. It's just clear communication.
And I think the director has to be smarter than you too.
Great. Annie, Julian, anything? No? Great. Well, good luck. We hope that helped. Free masterclass. Woohoo. Amazing. Thank you. Yes. In the front row. Question.
What I'm sensing is that what is gaslighting has shifted from being a psychological situation within a family, within a household, to now being a political situation. Then you hear the fact that the politics of this, in terms of women's role, appreciation, and power, also have a political context. And now for us, in this time, gaslighting is a political expression, not a personal expression.
But it's still about lying. It's still about deception. Yeah. Deception.
I heard it being used. I was eavesdropping. So the question was: Has gaslighting gone from a domestic, personal usage into a political realm? I think it's enveloped that. I was eavesdropping in the pub the other day, and I heard some late, maybe 18, 19-year-olds talking about a horror movie that they'd seen. And they were saying, I just love how that bit where the movie totally gaslit me into thinking that blah, blah, blah. So it's taken on a whole lot of dimensions, I think.
I think it's always been about power and power over someone, and that power is always shaped by the politics of the time that you're in. Maybe we just have more language around it now, and maybe the subjects of it are more vocal than they perhaps used to be. So we've got perspectives on it now rather than just a dominant and a subservient. I don't know. I think the politics have always been there. How much they've been talked about publicly, I think, is what has changed underneath this word. I don't know that the production itself is not what I would call an overtly political production. It is when we're a group of friends talking about theatre, but it plays like a thriller. And it plays very much in its time. And I'm fascinated because I haven't made one like this, and how much fun it is. And today, watching the company run, watching the Queensland Theatre Company sit and enjoy something that's actually kind of horrible to dissect and make, to understand the politics between a couple of people that ostensibly started off loving each other, to understand what that is and how they got to that place. It's been grimy and grotty, and the honesty that you have to have about the power that exists and the power exchange that exists in every relationship. You know, I've gone back home to my husband and said, I'm really glad I found you, and if anything happens to you, I'm not going out there again. It's too much of a risk. So it's felt very personal in the making. I think the title has pushed us into the politics, and I suppose a younger audience into the politics a lot more. I don't know what people are coming expecting, but it's a big old-fashioned story about power in a relationship. And that's been awful to make, but fun to watch affecting the audience.
And it is gas.
Well, no, there's no gas on stage, sorry. Okay, there's no gas on stage.
There's a question up there, yes.
I have a question about gaslighting. It's not really a question, it's a statement. Gaslighting, I think, is in popular use because of the social media we live in. And so it is associated with crime, and that's why it's a popular word. That's why it's a well-known word of 2022.
I love that. I'm so definitive. I agree with you.
I mean, there are people who gaslight others in social media relentlessly.
Yeah, its place on social media, yeah.
So it has a slightly different meaning. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't catch that.
I said it has a slightly different meaning. It has a contemporary meaning that's within the social media.
Yes, it does have gaslighting does have a contemporary meaning that sits in the social media space. But I think what's going to be interesting for people who are drawn to the title, possibly because of that, is to discover the story origin of the word. I'm looking forward to that moment where various people go, oh, gaslight.
The penny drop moment. One more question down here. Yes.
Has the word gaslight meant, like, has the meaning changed for you after doing this project?
The question is, has the meaning of the word gaslight changed for you after doing the project? No, because I knew the film before I knew the word separately to that. That would be me, but I don't know. Courtney, I'm going to throw to you on this one.
I'm the resident young. I speak for the youth. Gaslight to me is like tech week schedules and employment right now. Yeah, and fun. Yeah, unfortunately. No, but we don't lose sight. I am of the social media age. I knew the word far before I knew its origin, and I'm sure that's going to be the case for a lot of people coming, and I'm actually really excited for that revelation for people, but yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, you can see the connection. I mean, I do like the gas in the show. So yeah, I feel personally quite connected. But yeah, you can hear a pin. You can hear a pin. Not to make light of a serious word. Like you can hear a pin drop in the room. It's like it's tense in the making. But I think it's crafted in a way that there are moments of release. Yeah.
We have time for one more. Is anyone sitting on a question they really want to ask? We have time for one more question. Yes.
So what is the modern meaning of gaslighting?
Oh my gosh, gaslight. What is the modern meaning of gaslight? Who wants to take that one on?
Well, at its core, it's about lying. It's about deception, making someone believe something that's not there. Now, that's a concept that's been around since cave people. It's taken on a whole lot of power as a concept now because especially in social media, we've got the capability to pretend to be people that we're not really easily. We can hide behind public persona that don't even really exist. But deep down, it's about deception. And like all good stories, have someone who's not quite telling the truth, or someone who perceives something that isn't the way it is. Otherwise, once again, it'd be a weird play if everyone was just sitting around telling the truth the whole time.
It is now time for the regular event of these subscriber briefings, and that is the raffle. That's right, it's why you came, let's be honest. Now, who would like to draw the raffle?
Kate Fitzpatrick.
Kate Fitzpatrick, the legend, the icon. Pull it out. What do we want? Do we want green, yellow? What do we want? Orange, yellow.
What is that green? Orange. D58.
Orange D58. Who's that? Oh, hello. Now, would you like to know what you've won? You've won a $200 voucher to Bird's Nest in West End, so you can take all your friends out to dinner. Congratulations. Yum. I love Bird's Nest too, so if you'd like to invite me along, I'm available. Yes. There's another one. Oh, the prize is there. Copy. Sorry. The prize can be collected by that lovely person on door 1, over there. Alright, show your ticket. No one else trying to steal that. Something else, a community service announcement, that we still have subscriptions for the 2024 season are still available. So if you're umming and ahhing, if you haven't chosen your 3rd play, your 4th, your 5th, your 6th, your 7th, it's not too late, you can still grab your subscription. But finally, would you please thank you so much to the cast and crew of Gaslight. We wish you the very, very, very best in your psychological thriller that is all about deception and rug pulls. And stick around afterwards, chill out at stage door, find the cast in the bar afterwards. You can finally talk about Act 2. And it is heading out around the country, which means if you have family and friends in other cities, states, they'll also get a chance to see this beautiful, lush, sumptuous production. And so to you, all our audience, please travel safe home. It's so great to see you again. Please take care, and we'll see you in the theatre real soon. Until then, thank you.